Hey, and welcome back to the Crochet Credits with my friends over at yarnspirations.com. It is week number 3 as we begin our study of planet Earth. And this week we are going to do some beans. Learned this stitch actually from Jeannie. She was asking me if I knew this, and I'm like, I don't know anything about the bean stitch. And she goes, I know about the bean stitch. And so she started applying it into her Afghans. And actually I was so motivated I did it in a bag. And once I did it in the bag, I understood how the stitches could work together. So for the next little bit, we're going to be doing bean stitching. So you see that beautiful bean stitching as we're expanding our way on the outside of your hexagonal, and we're going to be doing beaning. So we're going to be, I want to say bean, 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 bean. I know, I need a life. So without further ado, let's go on into the studio and let's get started for week number 3. So let's begin week number 3. The lesson is the foundation of the mantle, and we're going to be doing the bean stitch, and this is a stitch that I learned from Jeannie last year. So what we have here is that it's actually a pretty simple idea, and there's going to be some really amazing work. It looks like boulders. That's how come I came up with this particular concept for this particular mantle idea. So let's go to page number 2. That's the fun page, and of course there is a diagram to follow, and you're going to see that we're going to go all the way from round number 17 all the way to 23. So it's actually not too much as far as distance wise, but because it is doing the bean stitch, there's a bit of more work in creating that. You will notice that creating this bean stitch will work out really quite awesome. As we begin number 17, we are going to start a new color. So I've been talking to you about strategizing your color. From this point on in this particular series, I'm going to let the yarn run out and just continue to work through the sequence of balls. What I recommend to you though at this point is that anytime you feel like it's transitioning in the wrong spot, that's where your ball number 10 comes into play. Sometimes a color can end just before you get to the final end. So sometimes what I'd like to do is just finish it off with the same color and then start fresh on the next round. Again, that's completely up to you, and it's completely strategizing. So what we're going to do is that each one of these chain 1 spaces that we left in the last time, that we're going to put into bean stitch, and the bean stitch consists of a stitch and then you have to lock it with the chain 1. So the chain 1 is not shown here. So these 2 chains that you see, that's separate. So you're going to do the bean stitch which locks it with the chain 1 and then chain 2 after that. And so each one of these sits right into play. When I first designed this, I only put 1 chain in between these bean stitches. I felt it was too tight, so I put 2 in there. So as we're building this out, you're going to notice is that there's 4 rounds of this bean stitch, and it looks really awesome in this particular concept. And so every one of these chain 2 spaces then gets a bean stitch in the future. So essentially what you're seeing is that every time you're doing these bean stitches is that there's 1 extra bean stitch per round as you're growing it out, and that's kind of an easy way to remember it as well. When you get to a corner, the corners are always going to be the same. For this particular bean stitch area, it will be a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet in the chain 1 space. Again, if you want to move up your stitch markers, that's quite awesome. Again, that's completely up to you. We're then going to finish it off with some double crochet to stabilize, and then 2 rounds of doing the back post, which creates a new set of ridges. So you think you're ready? It's a 5.5 millimeter size eye crochet hook, and we're going to continue with our Bernat pop. So I'm now going to begin, and I'm going to grab ball number 1 because this is where I am and I labeled it 1. So I'm going to continue now the sequence, and as I jump then at the end of this blue I will jump to the next ball number 2. So I have finished off, and I still have some of this red left over, which I'm going to save for a later time. Remember, we don't need to waste yarn. So for this particular bean stitch, you don't really need to follow it up with the stitch work that you see, but I'm going to leave those in place because I will need them for week number 4. So let's begin this particular round. So we're going to start off, and we are going to just go into the corner. So you see how I have it already marked? It's awesome when you do that, and therefore you can see it each and every time. And then just slip stitch to join it, and then chain 2. So you got chain 2. That counts as your first half double crochet, but then chain 2 more times. So when you start, it's actually chaining 4. And I do that on purpose just to make sure that you are understanding where I'm going with my idea. So you go to the first chain 1 space that's after the next single crochet, and you're going to do a bean stitch. So just lay that straggler down over top. So to do the bean stitch, and I love the bean stitch, let me zoom in and show you how it's done. It's really quite fabulous, and it's a lot better than the puff stitch. So to do the bean stitch, because we're starting, I want you to lay the straggler down, and I want you to come to the first chain 1 space after the corner. So this is kind of like a modified between a puff stitch and a bean stitch, the way that I'm about to demonstrate to you, but I'm referring it to as the bean stitch to keep it simple in the pattern. So to do this is that you simply, a puff stitch, you would wrap the hook first and then go into the stitch, but it's hard to get the hook out and it snags a lot. So I like the bean stitch or this modified version because the hook doesn't snag and therefore you can just blaze along quite nicely. So it's your call, it's up to you. So so to do this, you're just gonna insert in, so you don't wrap first, just go right into the chain one space, yarn over, pull through, then yarning over and then going back into the same spot, going in and then yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, same spot again, through, and then yarn over, pull through, and you will end up with a total of 6 loops. I don't want you to pull through all 6. I only want you to pull through the first 5, so ignore this first one. So yarning over, pulling through the first 5, and then you're going to chain 1 then to lock it, and that is your bean stitch. Then chain 2 to move to the next one. So go to the next chain 1 space. I'm just gonna leave this straggler down on top so it can get stuck underneath. So you don't wrap first, so just go right into the chain 1, pull through, then yarning over, going into the same one, yarning over, pulling through, yarn over and in, and yarn over and back. So ignore the first one, so just yarning over, pulling it through all of them but the first one, and then chain 1 to lock it, and then chain 2 to move on. So I'm gonna show you one more time. So just going in, pull through, yarn over and in, yarn over, pull back, yarn over and through, and yarn over and back. Pull through the first 5. See how it naturally just wants to do that, and then chain 1 to lock, and then chain 2 to progress, and this leaves it like a vertical look. So the next time that we come around these chain 2 spaces is where the next bean stitch will be in the next rounds. So what I want you to do is go all the way to the first corner. I'll see you here in just a moment, and then we'll carry on and I'll show you how to turn, and then I'm gonna leave the rest for you and then meet you back at the end of this round. So I'm coming close to the first corner and I want to make sure that I'm having 12 beans that go into the chain 1 spaces. So there's 12 chain 1 spaces, therefore there should be 12 bean stitches when you get there. So I'm coming to the space just before the corner and locking it, and then chain 2 and then come right into the corner. So you've already kinda got it marked if you've done it the same way, and you're going to half double crochet to start, chain 1 and then half double crochet again, and then there you officially turned. Okay, so I want you to verify your counts. I know that I'm right, so I'm not gonna verify that here, and you start the next side. So 1 2 to start, so chain 2 to start and come to the first bean stitch or the first chain 1 and bean in, and you're gonna do that all the way around, and there's only 4 layers of these bean stitches when you all is said and done at the end of this. And so it's a really nice stitch. It looks awesome. It's easy to maintain. And let me show you the puff stitch. Let me show you why I didn't do the puff stitch. A puff stitch you would wrap first and then going through and through. And because the way that you wrap it, see how it's leaning over? It always wants to snag. Now it didn't snag then, but it always wants to with me. So I hate that stitch. Worth the passion. So the bean stitch is a great alternative start so that you can have all the look without the fuss. So we're gonna bean all the way around, and I will see you at the end of this round, and we'll just make sure that you're starting right, and then I'm gonna leave the rest of the rounds for the bean stitch for you to do on your own, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So as I come back around, what's gonna happen is that we're going to just join it to the first, but let me just get there in just a moment. So there's only a total of 4 of these bean stitches in the rounds, so that it's really quite an easy idea. I wanted something in the pattern that really you didn't have to think much about, and so the bean stitch for me was one of those ones. So I'm just gonna come to the space right before the corner, fill that in with the bean stitch, and verify that you do have 12 of these going all the way around. If you've already verified that you had 12 chain 1 spaces, chances are you'll have that done right. Now when you get to the final corner that we started, don't forget you have to half double crochet in there first and then join it to the second chain up. So remember we chained 4, so just join it with a single crochet. So what I'm gonna do is I want you to do 4 of these rounds, and I'm gonna get you started. So now that the bean is in there, the chain 1 spaces acted as the holder. The chain 2 spaces here are the new spots, and so there's only gonna be 1 extra bean stitch per round in each side as we're continuing. So let's just get you started. So you're gonna chain a total of 4. So the first 2 is the half double crochet, 3 and 4 is the chain 2 space. So come in between the corner and the first chain or bean stitch, and therefore that is your bean. This is a straggler, so just trap it up underneath, just go right up underneath that and bean stitch right in that position. Okay, and then chain 2 and then come to the next space here. I'm just grabbing the straggler and going up underneath it so that I can really trap that in. It's a great way to do that, and then just carrying on. So chain 2 and bean stitch. So what I'm gonna do is I'll meet you at the first corner one more time, and then I'm gonna leave the next 2 rounds for you in order for you to continue. The ending of this will be the same, so you'll put in a bean right at the end here, and then you will just finish off this. So you put a half double crochet in this chain 1 space, and then just join it to the second chain with the single crochet. So I will meet you at the first corner. Make sure that you're turning your corners right, and then I'm gonna leave the rest of those rows for you, or rounds for you to be able to complete, and you will need 4 of these bean stitch rounds in order to continue. So I'm coming to the first corner that I'm about to turn, and I'm putting a bean stitch in the space between the last bean stitch and the corner, chain 2, and then just come right into that chain 1 space. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, and then start another side. So just chain 2 and then come to the first space after the corner and begin your bean stitches all over again and filling them in. So please go all the way around, and I want you to do 2 more rounds of this, and then remember when you get back to the beginning it's just like you did before. So you make sure that you finish, where's the beginning here, just come into the first one, put in a first half double crochet to finish this corner, and then join it to the second chain up. And what I want you to do is do 4 rounds of this, and this will be rounds, so we have 17, 18 is now in progress, and 19 and 20, and I'll see you back here and we'll finish the final 3 rounds that are left. So I'm coming all the way back around, and this is my 4 layers. You can see 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm just chaining a 2 and I'm half double crocheting in the final, and then I'm gonna join with the single crochet join. So just go to the second chain up and single crochet the final gap closed. So now we're gonna move on in the pattern, and now we have 3 more rounds to do. Look at the color, is amazing, right? So you'll see that the color did change on its own, so I'm allowing it to have its own freedom as we go. So let's begin the next round. In the next round we're gonna go round 21. We're gonna chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then we're gonna put a double crochet in the first half double crochet that you have here, and then it's gonna be 2 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces all the way across to the corner. So when you get to the other side, make sure that you put a double crochet in the first half double crochet that you have, and then the corners will always be the same of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and we're gonna do that all the way around. Nice and simple. Let's begin round number 21. So let's begin. We're gonna chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet, and in the same one right here, okay, that is gonna be also a double crochet. So that's the top of the half, that's considered a half double crochet if you remember. So each chain 2 space all the way across is gonna have 2 double crochets into it. So as soon as you do the first one, just jump to the next space. So it's kinda like you're bean stitching, jumping in the spaces, but now you're just filling it in. And you're gonna do that all the way to the first corner, and I'll see you there in just a moment, and then I'll let you finish the rest on your own for this round. So as we get to the first corner, you're just putting in 2 double crochets in each of these chain 2 spaces until you get to the half double crochet corners. Okay, so there's the corner. So the first one, this half double crochet, is gonna have 1 double crochet in it first, and then you're gonna go into the chain 1 space, and it will be 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. So you just have to watch these half double crochets when you're getting the first stitch in. It's right here. Do you see that? That's the top of the stitch, and you're gonna half double crochet in that one first before commencing into the chain 2 spaces. So each chain 2 space now to the next corner is gonna be 2 double crochets. So please do that same idea going all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of this round. Okay, as you come all the way around, you're just putting your 2 double crochets in each of the chain 2 spaces right up into the very end, and after the last space here you need to put in a double crochet right into the half double crochet before going to the corner, and then sinking right into the space there you're going to put a double crochet and then join it to the top of the third chain up with the single crochet. So now we just got 2 more rounds to go, 22 and 23, and we're gonna be doing those. Those are both the same round, and instruction wise, and I'll show you how to do that next. So let's begin round number 22. So round 22 and 23 are the same rounds, and what we have is that they're each back post double crochet. Now the difference between 22 and 23 is that the very first stitch out on one side of a flat has 2 back post double crochets. So you're gonna back post double crochet in each, and when you turn the corner, the first one out again will be 2 back post double crochet. We're doing that to change the count because it matters for the future. So that's what we want to do, and it's gonna be in the same instruction then for round 23, except for round 23 there will just be 1 back post double crochet in each, and the counts are right, and you'll just do your corners. The corners are 1/2 double crochet, chain 1, 1/2 double crochet, and that's what we're gonna be doing. So let's move on now to round number 22 and get you started. Make sure you understand that, and then 23 is just a simple round, and then that will conclude week number 3. So let's begin this 22. So we're gonna chain 2 counts as your first 1/2 double crochet. Now around the same the post underneath, the first one out on one side is going to be 2 back post double crochet around the same post, and this is going to change the counts to give us what we need for the next future. And you don't need it for the next one, but you'll need it for after that. So the rest of these all the way across to the very end is just 1 back post double crochet each, and then when you turn the corner, the very first one as you start the next flat side will have 2 in there. So just to recap, I think we've done back post double crochet already. So it's just going in from the back and back out to the other side and just double crochet, so around the post. One thing you should watch for, and I gave this in tip number week number 1, when you go from the back post, make sure you grab the entire post. It's sometimes easy just to grab a piece of it, and it'll be really obvious if you grab a piece of it and the color that you have is not matching the same color that you're going around the post with. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'll meet you at the first corner. Make sure that you're turning the corners fine, and then we'll pick up from that point. So as we're getting closer to the corner, we're just going 1 back post double crochet in each right until the corner spot. So here is the double crochet just before the corner. So in the chain 1 space you'll put in 1/2 double crochet, and then chain 1 and then 1/2 double crochet just like that. So then you're gonna start your very first one. So the first one out on a side is gonna be 2 back post double crochet around the same post, and that will get us to have better counting for the future. It'll make sense later. And then it's 1 back post double crochet around the remaining all the way to the other corner. So please do that for this entire round, and I'll see you and just recap then for round 23, which then will be the conclusion for week number 3. So I'm coming to the end of round number 22, and I'm just going to 1/2 double crochet in the final space that we started off with, and then I'm going to do a single crochet attached to the top of the first chain 2 that we had started with. So that's it. So what we're going to do is 1 more round, and this is round number 23 to conclude, and we're gonna chain 2. That counts as your first 1/2 double crochet, and then right directly below here, okay, there is all gonna be just 1 back post double crochet in each. So you don't have to worry about adding 2 to the very first one. It's just 1 in each, and then you'll handle the corners exactly the same of 1/2 double crochet, chain 1, 1/2 double crochet. So I want you to finish now round number 23, get that done, and then we'll be meeting me back here in next week as we continue our mystery solve. Let me get you all the way around, just quickly recap, and then you can enjoy the rest of your day. So I'm coming to the end of round number 23. This is the final for week number 3, and we're just doing back post double crochet, 1 in each. You can see that the colors have changed. As you can see, it's awesome. And just coming into the very last one, this is a 1/2 double crochet below. Just make that a back post double crochet, and then going right into the space that you started with, 1/2 double crochet, and then join to the top of the chain 2 with the single crochet. So I'll see you next week, and that's it for now. So that's it for week number 3. If you're sick and tired of doing beans, congratulations, you have just mastered on week number 3. You'll never have to do it again unless you see it in a project, but it is a great stitch. I hate the puff stitch worth the passion. Love the bean stitch. It has a very similar look without all that yarn snagging as you're doing the hook. So I'd like to thank my friends on behalf of Yarn Inspirations as well as us here at the Crochet Crowd. We'll see you next week, week number 4, as we continue along, and we're now at the halfway point of our stitch along for the summer. See you again real soon. Bye-bye.